Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I thought we would rank all of my Rosy eyeshadow palettes. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Okay, so I feel like I've seen quite a few creators do this type of video now, and I was thinking of doing it too. I'm a little late because I really wanted to give everything a thorough test, just so I would know exactly where it fell in my rankings. So I have 8 Rosy themed eyeshadow palettes. Coming in at number 8 is from Artist Couture, and this is the Supreme Mauves palette. So this came out around mid-April, and I had high hopes for this one. This was my first experience with Artist Couture, and Supreme Mauve sounded like a great place to start. I really love mauvey, rosy eyeshadows. I just think they're so beautiful and easy to wear. And I'm really disappointed in this. The matte shadows are absolutely beautiful. They're very blendable, easy to work with, definitely high-end matte shadows. But the shimmers in here are not great. They do not perform like high-end shadows at all. The shimmers are just very, very dry. This shade here, Risque, will get all over your face. This is more like a pressed glitter, and it's just very chunky. And the rest of them, they're just very dry and hard to work with. I was really disappointed with this, especially for the price point. This retails for around the $50 mark, and for me, that's way too much for a palette that's not going to perform well, especially if I can find shimmers that perform better from, say, ColourPop. That's not great. So unfortunately, this wasn't a hit for me. Coming in at number 7 is an older quad, and this is from Flower Beauty, and this is in Petal Play. So I picked this up because I thought it kind of looked a little bit like a Charlotte Tilbury quad. And it does in many ways. This is a very pretty little quad. I particularly love this shade right here. I believe this is Peach. This is a really, really pretty shade to just throw all over the lid on a really light makeup day. It just gives such a pretty sheen to the lid. It's beautiful. The rest of the shades are fine. I don't like the mattes as much. I don't think they're the best quality mattes. They're fine. They're just very powdery. But overall, this is a really good quality quad, especially from the drugstore. My only complaint is that I feel like they don't last as long on the lid. They don't have great longevity. So for me, that was points against this one. I think it's very pretty, and again, I'm still going to reach for the shade all the time for a simple daytime look, but overall it's just not, the longevity lost at major points with me. Okay, so from this point on, I start to really like pretty much all of these, but coming at number 6 is from Pat McGrath, and this is the Mothership Rose Decadence palette. So this is one of her 6 pans. I don't think you can get this one anymore, but if you have it, it's really, really beautiful. There's only 2 mattes in here. There's a light pink, there's this more bronzy type shade, a more gold shade, and then this shade up here, which is called Fuchsia Flame, and it is a bit of a duochrome shade. It's very, very pretty. I have really, really enjoyed this one. This was my first experience into Pat McGrath's shadows, and I really like it. I am really happy with my choice. It's very high quality. I mean, you don't get a lot of range. It's going to be a very pink look no matter what you do. However, the quality is great. It was really expensive, but the quality is great on this one. So if you've been wanting to do some rosy looks and you have this, I would highly recommend pulling this out. This one is actually a great palette. And coming in at number 5 is a new quad to my collection, and this is from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Pillow Talk Dreams quad. So this one was released in her Pillow Talk Dreams collection, and this is very beautiful. If you're a fan of the original Pillow Talk quad, you might like this. This is like a deeper take on that. I believe in my video I really described this as being the perfect Pillow Talk quad for maybe nighttime, or if you have a deeper skin tone, I think this would be perfect. And I really do like this. They look more brown in the pan, but I find on the eyes they definitely have a little bit more of a rosy undertone to them, which is really, really pretty. These shimmers are absolutely stunning. I really enjoy this quad. Obviously, you're limited with how many different types of looks you can come out with. It is just a quad, but it's really, really pretty. It's so easy to use. I like that it's so simple. However, because it is a Charlotte Tilbury quad, it is ridiculously expensive for just 4 shades. So that is why this one is falling a little lower in the ranking. I do like this one better than the 6 Pan Pat McGrath, but it did lose points for being so expensive. Speaking of expensive, coming in at number 4, we have from Pat McGrath the Divine Rose 2 Mothership palette. This one I've been playing with for a bit and I think it's very pretty. The shades are obviously incredibly beautiful and blendable and easy to work with. I particularly love this shade. I think on camera it is translating fuchsia right now, but when I look at it from this angle, it's green. And I think that's the coolest thing. I'm so fascinated by those types of shades. I overall just really, really love this palette. I do think it can be a little intimidating, so if I'm trying to be a little more subtle, or if I just want to, or if I don't want to go too glam, I'm definitely not going to reach into this. These 2 shades on the end really, really amp up the look so much. They add so much sparkle and shine. They're beautiful, but the quality of this is so good. Obviously, the Mothership palettes are incredibly, incredibly expensive. I believe they're $129 US, 170 Canadian. That's like an awful lot for an eyeshadow palette. So that's part of why this one is only coming in at number 4. But also just because there's a couple color stories I like a bit more. I do think this is absolutely stunning though. So if you have this one, this is beautiful. Coming in at number 3 is another newer palette to my collection, but one that I have really, really loved. This is the new Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2 Rose palette. So I talked about this one quite a bit, and this is one that I really, really loved his first palette that he came out with, and somehow this one, the quality of this one is somehow better. I have no idea how he did this, but these are absolutely beautiful. You will get a very, very rosy look with this palette, so just know that, but they're just so easy to use, easy to work with. The mattes blend so effortlessly. The shimmers are very unique. I describe his shimmer formula as being quite unique. They're very multi-dimensional, so I think the name of the palette itself is pretty spot on. The shimmers are a little bit on the chunky side, but I think that is for the purpose of bringing a ton of dimension to the shades, and they're just very beautiful. And of course you do get these 2 cream shades that you can use as a base, you can use as a liner. You can do whatever you want with them, but they are really nice to have as well. I don't think they're 100% necessary, but it is a really nice perk that kind of makes the palette a little bit more unique. Okay, coming in at number 2 is from Natasha Denona, and this was released back in the fall. This is her retro palette. So this one is definitely a mix of mauve and rosy tones, but I think it is beautiful. And Natasha Denona has one of my very favorite eyeshadow formulas. I do pick up almost every eyeshadow palette she releases. I just love them so, so much. The shades Groove and Rebellion are beautiful. They look really intimidating to me at first, but they're actually very easy to work with. Glitz and Psychedelic are stunning. I can't tell you how sparkly and multi-dimensional they are, while just adding the most ethereal look to the lids. So, so beautiful. The shade Andy is the most beautiful lilac. It's one of her cream to powder shades, but it's the most pretty lilac shade. It just looks gorgeous on the lids. I love this. And you can definitely go a little more brown with the palette, but for the most part, you're going to get a pretty rosy mauve-y look, and I love it so much. And her formula makes it so easy to do. So that's why this one is coming in at number 2. So coming at number 1 is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I love this so much. This was her holiday release for 2021. So looking at this palette initially, I know you probably see a lot of pink and a little bit of purple in there, but when you go into these brown shades here, they actually pull very rosy. They definitely have a rosy undertone to them. Then there is, this shimmer here, Blissful. and even Abundance, they have this rosiness to them that is so pretty. But what makes this palette so special is the uniqueness of the shimmer shades in here. They are so special. That's the best way I can put it. They are just very special. They look so ethereal and beautiful on the lids. This is such a fun palette to use and to dip into. I really, really love this one. It's just fun and inspiring to look at. So I had to put this one on the list, but overall, I love this palette. This one is definitely my number one. But that is it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. And that's it for me today. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!